right, here's a few revs. Alright guys, hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for sticking with me for the time that you have. Today I'm going to actually be going through an install of a B2 Fabrication muffler for my truck. I wanted to get the exhaust on the truck to be a little bit louder, so today we're going to go through that. I've got the box over here to my left. I figured there's not much more fun things to do than unbox car parts, so I figured we'll unbox some car parts together and then take you all through the install. So let's go over here and check out this wonderful box of stainless goodness. All right, here we go guys. Let's check this stuff out here. So here is the muffler. B2 Fabrication, all stainless. You can kind of see the inlet there. It's a straight through muffler. And then here is the pipe that joins on here. Let's see, I think it goes over here on this side actually. Yep. So it goes on like that. And a sticker, nice. Instructions. And then a sticker. Ooh. Some sort of merch stuff. And then here's some clamps. Alright, that looks good. Excited to hear this thing rumble. Woohoo! All right, so taking a look here at the instructions, you know, because as guys, we always read the instructions, right? So looking at this, it kind of gives us a diagram of what the muffler looks like, how it goes on, shows where the clamps go. And then according to this, it says step 1, mark a line as close to the front of the muffler as you can. So it's saying here's where we need to cut, really close to the front of the aftermarket, or the OE muffler, so we want to cut close to that, and then also cut close here. It says about 2.75 inches behind and dead against this side here, but it says it retains the OE valve. Now me personally, I don't know that I want to keep the OE valve on there. I know these trucks can make a noise, like a buffeting sound if you don't keep the valve, but at the same time, these valves are evidently known for breaking and causing rattles and things like that in the exhaust, so I don't know if I want to do that. It says cut both lines and then install your B2 muffler. So the good news is it gives you some pretty good instructions here, so that's really exciting. Ecstatic about that on the kit. So let's get under there, let's go into the truck and see what we're looking at, and then see if we can make some cuts. All right, so here's what the muffler looks like on the truck. You can see it's a big old mamma jamma. There is the valve that is telling me to retain. And then just go all the way back here on the muffler. Here's kind of the back side of it as it goes up and over the rear end and splits into a Y there. So I think what I'm going to do to make this as easy as possible, it tells me to cut directly up against the muffler here and about 2.75 inches behind the muffler in the back. I'm thinking what I may do is try to cut directly here and then also cut directly on the back of the muffler here and see what I've got. And then if I need to make another cut, you know, cut another inch or so, shouldn't be too hard to do that. That's my thinking. I don't really want to keep that valve. I really want that valve to go away. So I'm thinking if I can cut that valve off, that would be ideal. So I think I'm gonna try to do that. So wish me luck. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. All right, and I'm back for round 2 because earlier when I was cutting, I bent the heck out of my Sawzall blade. So I went and got a new Sawzall blade, and now I've run into dark time. So we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully it does better than the last one. Alright guys, let me show you something here. So this is something I did probably 6 months ago or so. There's this flapper in here, right? That opens up and helps kind of quieten the exhaust noises whenever you're talking about the AFM, DFM cylinder deactivation, right? So probably a year ago, I actually went in and moved this spring here back a few spots. And if you'll notice, mine's fully open at all times. So honestly, kind of forgot I did that until just now. So I'm gonna try to run this just like it is and not cut the flapper off. So that's what we're looking like on this side, and that's what we're looking like on this side. So let's get that exhaust in here and see what we got. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. Flapper valve is still in, but it is open. That's what she looks like right there. So you can kind of see how much different as far as size is compared to what I had. Pretty wild how small this guy is, but I bet it's going to sound amazing. I can't wait to crank it up here in just a second. It does say on the instructions to go back and retighten these after about a week, so I'll definitely want to be doing that. But overall, I don't think it was the worst install. Had I not bit my Sawzall blades, I'd have been good to go. Here it is. Here's what it looks like. Overall, this install was pretty good. The instructions were close. I will say it had me cut at 2.75 inches, said leave that much on the back and cut from the back of the muffler. I needed to cut another probably 2.5 inches off for it to actually fit the way it should, but it's on there. It looks good. Let's fire this thing up. All right, here is the video of the after with the B2 Fabrication muffler installed. See if I can get a red video without the Bluetooth picking up, guys. Damn. All right, guys, so I wanted to kind of talk to you about this exhaust. You know, that now that I've been driving the truck for a couple of weeks now, kind of gotten used to it, and wanted to kind of give my overall opinion of the exhaust, the installation process, etc. So let me start off by saying, you know, this is the B2 Fabrication muffler, right? It's just a muffler itself, so that no other part of the exhaust was touched. And I kept the flapper, you know, installed in the factory location. All I did was basically move the spring to where it's wired open, right? So that's the only change, is the muffler itself. And I will say, definitely, it is louder than stock, which was my goal, right? So kind of out of the gate, one of my goals was to have something that was louder than stock, but also not so stinking loud that every time I crank the truck up, you know, I rattle the entire neighborhood, right? So, you know, I know a lot of people like to have a really loud truck. I get it. Nothing against that whatsoever. That's just not what I wanted right now, right? Maybe I'm getting old. Who knows, right? But I will say I've got a Camaro that has a 383 stroker in it, you know, that has a really short bullet style muffler on it that dumps right before the axle. So I do have something that I can rattle the neighborhood with if I want to. But, you know, my daily driver truck, that's not really my goal, right? It's not really what I was looking to do. So anyways, back to the muffler itself.
it went on really easy, right? It was probably a 45-minute job. It turned into way longer for me because like in the middle of it, I started getting hungry and I was like, I gotta get something to eat. So I stopped, I ate, I come back and finish the install up, right? So probably took me close to 2 hours, but I would say the normal install, 30 to 45 minutes, you could probably have it on and done. And it was fairly simple, really was. Shout out to B2 Fabrication too. You know, the muffler itself, it was in really, really good quality. You know, like the metals in really nice quality, really thick, heavy duty. The welds looked really, really good. You know, everything, the installation process as far as like the instructions, the clamps were good quality. I mean, I can't say anything but good things about them. They packaged it well too, so that way it got here unharmed, which was great. So shout out to them. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them, right? I'm just trying something different because, like I said, I'd seen a lot of exhaust videos online about different exhaust, right? And one thing I did notice was I saw this B2 Fabrication on tons and tons of Dodge Rams, but they had one for this 2019 Silverado, right, and up. And I never could find like an online clip that showed me what it sounded like. So I was like, well, hey, if it sounds that good on a Dodge, Chevy's definitely going to make it sound better, right? That's definitely going to be the case. So I think it sounds really good. It's not the loudest exhaust though, I will say that. So getting back to sound, and you'll definitely hear this throughout the video, but it is louder than stock, but not super loud, right? So if you're going down the interstate, for example, and you're just cruising with your foot barely on the throttle, you're probably not even going to know it has a muffler on it. It's that quiet. Now, when you go to take off and pass somebody really quickly, or you gun it real hard to kind of get around somebody, 100% you'll know it has exhaust on it because it opens up and it's good, pretty good and loud, right? But it's not so awfully loud that everywhere you go, you know, you hear that constant drone or that constant loud exhaust noise. It's not that, right? It's not some sort of any close to like a Borla Attack or even some of the Corsa systems or anything like that. It's not that loud, right? So for me, that's what I wanted. So I'm definitely happy with it. I like the way it sounds. To me, it sounds like what a stock truck should sound like. You know, so I'm very appreciative of how it turned out. And, you know, I really like it. Now, one thing I will say is just to call out, I've seen many people on videos cover up those resonator screens that go out by the tips. So I see many people cover those up to make it a little bit louder. But I've also heard that, you know, those are there for one reason they're there is to kind of quieten the drone down, but also to kind of help with the buffeting noise that you hear with the AFM, DFM delete. And I still have AFM, DFM, whatever you want to call it, activated on this truck. So I don't think I'm going to cover those up right now. I've heard by doing that, you may get a little bit louder sound. But right now, I think it sounds just fine for my liking. So I'm going to leave it alone. And maybe later on down the line, if I want to, I can cover it up at that point. But, you know, thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed, you know, the install process. You learned something along the way. You know, etc. And I will say, if you like what you're seeing, please please subscribe. You know, I could really use your help to kind of build the channel. It's very much appreciated. And there's going to be future projects down the road. For example, one that I'm definitely going to be working on soon is I was able to find some ready lift control arms for the front. I want to replace those. So that's going to be something that's going to be upcoming. So like I said, like, subscribe if you like what you're seeing, and thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.